This episode of Watch Out for Fireballs is brought to you by Adam Bucheri, who sponsored an episode. He didn't sponsor this game, sponsored a game we're going to be doing later, but wanted to put a plug at the front of this episode for his new game, Enter the Survival Horror, which is a tabletop RPG inspired by Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Darkest Dungeon. Looks rad as heck. You can find that at Adam-Bucheri, that's bucceri.io/enter-the-survival-horror. Thank you. My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this is an episode about Hitman 3, which is a stealth immersive sim developed and published by IO Interactive for modern systems in 2021. I was trying to do the Diana. That is...
Gotcha.
Sheikh Al-Ghazali, yeah.
This episode has a sponsor in kind of a roundabout way. Friend of the network, Adam, sponsored an episode that's coming way later in the year, but Adam has a project coming out now that we want to give a quick shout out to because it looks rad.
It does.
It is, Adam has made a Forged in the Dark, which is a tabletop kind of open license version of Blades in the Dark. So using those same rules, survival horror game called Enter the Survival Horror.
Yeah. It looks really cool. The rules are very simple. And like the module that he has at the start will be really familiar for anybody who's a huge fan of Resident Evil 2.
The mansion incident. This looks incredible. Blades in the Dark is a really cool game. I really like open source versions of it. Survival horror is a genre that is not well represented in tabletop.
Nope.
I found. And this is like basically a love letter to all of those games.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. Custom little clock. There's a clock mechanic in Forged in the Dark, and their little umbrella logo, custom clocks. There's the Saber Alpha team as opposed to stars with a patch design and everything. It's really cool. I'm going to recommend everybody go to Adam, Adam-Bucheri, bucceri.io/enter-the-survival-horror.
Yeah.
And check that shit out.
And if you're wondering, hey, who's this Adam guy? What are his Duckfeed bona fides? Adam is the illustrator who did some of the cover art for Bonfireside Chat. So those black and white drawings of us as messengers for the Bloodborne season or as knights for the Dark Souls 3 season, that was Adam. Adam's a crazy talented dude. Yeah, so go check it out.
Incredibly talented.
Adam-Bucheri.itch.io.
Yeah, absolutely. So check that out. And everyone's going to like the game that Adam sponsored. We're just not doing it yet.
Yep.
Instead, we're doing Hitman 3 because we can't help ourselves.
We can't. We started doing the vanity picks. And I don't know, doing a third Hitman game. I knew I was going to play it. I knew we would want to talk about it. So just wanted to pop that onto the old sketch. Because, previous Hitmans, like the A+ games pretty much, like really good.
It's an A+ series.
Yeah.
While, there are, and I'm going to say something like not controversial, but I'm going to throw a little discourse bomb
into
the chat immediately. I think this is my least favorite of the three.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything because it's still an A, like that makes it like an A-.
That's about where I come down on it too, and that is, based on like the headlines of reviews that I've seen. People have some qualms with some of the decisions that are made, like I do. I think that it would be very difficult for them to top the effort that they had in Hitman 2. We're going to talk about kind of the shift toward at least your first impressions of the missions being far more on rails than I think the series had accustomed us to. And I think that, I don't know. Well, we'll get to that in the final summation after we've talked about everything. I'm pretty much on the same page as you. I think that this is a fitting conclusion to the story. I think it is the compromises that were made were kind of necessary in their minds to making this feel like a cinematic spy story.
Yeah, and it works on that level 100%. It just, instead of getting 6 new Hitman levels that are multifaceted and have like a billion little moving parts, you get like, 4.5.
Yeah.
And that is a super mild bummer, but it is a, pure joy to play, of course. Like, IO Interactive have figured out how to make these games.
Yes.
This is them saying goodbye to the series, which is a bummer because they're going to move on to James Bond, which is fine, but that means they're going to add a horny element. There's going to be a seduction element because James Bond is fucking greasy.
Yeah.
So he's so oily. Such a disgusting little man.
Always wiggling his way into places. Yeah.
Hello, Miss Moneypenny. Yes. Groovy, baby. It's disgusting.
I got the clap I did. What?
I went and got me the syphilis, I did. Cool, me boss. I got crotch crickets, I do. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Man, he's what a repulsive little goblin James Bond is.
So, based on things that I have read, they have not completely said goodbye to Agent 47. They're just taking a break from him for now. Like, they're leaving off this chapter. But yeah, they're currently working on a James Bond game, and I'll follow this team, with their current output to the end of the earth, pretty much. So
I will too. I just want Agent 47 back.
Yep.
This also works. This whole trilogy ends up working at this like amazing kind of like superhero origin story almost for 47. Like, this like dark Avenger Punisher type character who kills rich people. And I'm extremely into that as a setup as well. So this is the conclusion of the World of Assassination trilogy. So these are the modern Hitman games, wrapping up the storyline with Agent 47 and his handler, Diana Burnwood, and their crusade against the powerful organization Providence.
And this is the third entry in the series. The generalities have not really changed an awful lot since the original Hitman, since the first entry in this trilogy, Hitman in 2016. So we're not going to be going in depth on them here. You can actually listen to the very long generalities portion of episode 247 from May of 2019 for free. That is a premium episode, but the generalities are there for everybody.
Yeah. There are a couple like minor changes to this that we're going to talk about, but most of the change is going to be in the actual level design and kind of encounter design, which we'll get into in the second half. This is really story focused since this has to wrap everything up. And specifically, your first run in a mission tends to emphasize the story. Frequently, you'll be at a unique starting location with a story-based kind of lead up to the mission. And then on later times you show up, it'll be a little bit more like a standard Hitman level.
Yeah.
And this is now not only your starting location, but things like one of the big gimmick levels in this is entirely different on repeat playthroughs.
Yeah. And gimmick is a good word for a lot of what's going on here. I have this as a later point, but there are far more like gameplay hooks and departures present here, and a lot of those are present here in the first go. So the second run is always going to give you an option. You're going to unlock a new entrance, just like you always do. A new starting location, which always puts you closer to the action. And your second run is going to be much more akin to what you're used to from a Hitman game, which is these big kind of puzzle box levels with lots and lots of toys to play around with. Although many of the levels are kind of more claustrophobic than we have seen in the past.
Yeah, not all of them, but they are a little bit different in terms of kind of style.
Yeah.
Here, some levels end up having these secondary missions in addition to the kills, and some of these are performed automatically after the first run. So you end up with, when you played the suburbs or Colorado, where you had to do these little side things in addition to doing these kills, those are automatically done.
Yes.
On the second run. So your first time playing through this is going to be notably different.
A new addition to the levels that I'm not quite sure how I feel about, because it feels very gamey, feels very video gamey to me, which is the fact that levels have built-in shortcuts in the form of these one-way doors and ladders, which will remain open between runs. So you get a little bit of Dark Souls thrown in here. So if during a run you get into a hard-to-reach location and you find one of these doors, you can open it up and it will create kind of more direct lines through the level for your subsequent goes around.
Do you mean we could have justified doing this on Bonfireside Chat?
I don't know. There's a lot of incidental lore going on. I mean, for people who are really dedicated to the story and personalities, by the time we get here to the third episode of this trilogy, like there is so much crossover and so many callbacks and so many people who were just like in one of the levels here, they mentioned Helmut Kruger,
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the characters show up as well. There's a lot of these little ties and everything.
Yeah.
Like the previous game, you can backport all the levels, except, so in the second game, you could put all the levels from 1. This one, you can do all the levels from 1 and 2, along with all the gear you unlocked and all the cosmetics, making this one big gigantic game, which makes the story, it kind of makes it like feel like, paced like a game, then it's like one big 18-hour kind of affair, and it makes the story work pretty well. Because in the previous games, I didn't really put together how much they were one of a trilogy in this. Like they, I will admit that like a lot of times when story stuff starts happening in Hitman, my eyes gloss over a little bit.
It's a lot of names of dudes. And it's like, maybe I kind of recognize that. It's said as though I should recognize it.
It's this to me shows the confidence that all those dudes were real.
Yeah.
Like all those dudes, they actually had a place here. This is, also a little plot puzzle box as well. It just, when you only can ever see a third of it at a time, it never quite worked. And I'm really looking forward to doing a run of like the entire 47 World of Assassination front to back with all the DLCs and shit.
Yeah.
As like a canon one-time playthrough.
That'd be really fun to do. So like a technical thing that they managed to do previously, Hitman 2 with all the Hitman 1 levels in was like a gigantic install. It's basically like 1/10 of a terabyte hard drive, pretty much. This one, they managed to get it compressed, and all 3 of them is like half of the size of that. So that like it is not as prohibitive. It is like the install of a reasonably sized game to have all of this sitting around. So that's good.
Yeah. Another thing that they added for this one is VR capability.
Oh shit! Yeah, I meant to try that.
I did. I did not. Will tried it and wrote up a thing on the AV Club. You can see about it, and he says it's okay.
Yeah,
and he's a pretty big fan of VR. So he says pretty good, but it's only kind of made for it.
Yeah,
I have no interest in doing this in first person. The way that it trickles down to me though is that there's a camera. That feels like. The way this gets shoehorned in some missions feels incredibly Nintendo-y.
It does.
Like blow on your DS to hack this door.
Yeah. There is a camera, which is like an environment scanner. It's like the 47 gets a Samus scanning visor for story bits. Yeah.
And you go through huge, you go through several missions forgetting it even exists until your handler's like, hey, you can scan that doodad and something will happen. I'm like, oh shit.
Okay, cool. And it's also photo mode. You can, compose screenshots with filters and depth of field and all of that. There was a recent episode where we talked about how that is not for us. The way that trickles down to us is we know talented people who take good screenshots and post them.
Yeah.
And that's good enough for me.
Bring me the best of this.
Yes.
I have no interest in participating.
Yeah.
In photo modes. So this was announced in 2020, and development was, of course, impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. For people in the future, we're recording it during that thing.
Yeah. You're probably still going through it.
You're probably still going through it. So the big impact in terms of how this game worked out is they were unable to get voice talent with authentic Argentinian accents. So the Mendoza level ended up reusing older accented dialogue.
Yeah. Yep. Stuff like that, in addition to just the general asset reuse that is done. Because, these are both like grandiose, but also kind of like frugal games in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still really pretty. Like I played this on a PS5 and it's fucking gorgeous. I mean, Dubai makes a really good first impression on you.
The vineyard?
Yeah. Vineyard's amazing.
Everything looks really cool.
Yeah. Some of the ideas for particular missions had to be scaled back for budgetary reasons as well. The one that I read about was kind of the famous level from the game, Dartmoor Manor. Which has kind of a Knives Out murder mystery plot. Initially, the plan was for that murder mystery to have the culprit be randomized every time you went to investigate it, and for the killer to end up being your secondary target. That ended up not being the case. It is a fixed culprit every time, and you do not have to kill the person who done it.
Yeah, you can though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't let that stop you.
She killed some. They killed probably one of the nicest people in that family. Second nicest that I saw. Yeah.
So don't don't let that stop you. The PC launch of Hitman 3 was a big kerfuffle due to IOI's exclusivity deal with the Epic Game Store. So IOI made a bunch of promises to Steam players about importing their content, but it didn't work at launch. It took a month for them to fix. I never got to work. It just would never recognize.
Oh, fun.
That it recognized my old save, but it wouldn't recognize my new one, which is really weird.
Okay.
And it's like, listen, we know you have Hitman 1 and 2, but I don't know if you have Hitman 3. I'm like, I've signed in on Hitman 3.
I need all of these to talk, please.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. Also, it's got its always online nonsense.
Ugh.
I ran into a lot of like server connection error things where the game would just freeze for a while because it wasn't connected online, and like that does nothing for me.
Yeah.
It is, not to Jim Sterling it, but like that is one of the more consumer unfriendly trends in games, and I get no advantage out of that.
Same. I think that
fucking sucks.
What they get is tracking data on me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I already paid you for the game.
Yeah.
I don't work for free.
Nope.
I want a pretty hefty discount if you're going to do that to me.
Please. Or give me the ability to opt out. If you could. Yeah. The only DLC that's been revealed so far is the 7 Deadly Sins pack. I think right now only Greed is out, which fits with the series. This adds new missions to existing stages that are based around the 7 Deadly Sins. As far as I know, there are no plans to do additional stages like Hitman 2 got with the New York City Bank and with the resort. So little bit of a bummer there, but there's kind of a finality to what happens in the game that I'm fine with. And I feel like in the existing base game, some of these spaces are a little bit underexplored. So cool new stuff added into them by IOI, in addition to the other stuff like contracts and escalations, seems worth it to me.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, those aren't for me, but I don't begrudge their existence.
Yeah.
Like there's a big emphasis in the 7 Deadly Sins stuff on like new costumes and everything. And there are a group of people who play these games because they want their Agent 47 to look a certain way.
Right.
They want to collect all the doodads, and that's just not me. And I'm, go with God.
Yep.
That's quite all right. I will go back and check out some of these missions perhaps later. If they do new levels, I will get them.
Yes.
But I'm mostly here, I have not fully explored these levels or anything. And that's probably a worthwhile caveat at the beginning, is that I haven't done all the mission stories or done everything possible. That's not really how these games work.
Right, right.
I did 2 passes on all the levels, and I'll talk about both of those passes. But
yeah, I did the same as well, and read about some of the other mission stories. So
let's and as we mentioned, they're going to work on a James Bond game, and then hopefully, they've not ruled out returning to Agent 47's story, which I hope they do.
Yeah,
I like Agent 47 so much more than I like James Bond.
Agent 47 is an amazing character. I like him.
One of the best. Yeah.
I mean, there's a moment. Okay, spoilers off, when he says he's sorry.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
It's really good.
It's so good. Like
It's
just
really good.
a whole 2 decades of development on this character to earn that. So
Yeah.
good.
And it's like, I'm sorry. And you're like, oh shit. Like, whoa, this guy means it. It's really great.
Oh yeah. Hey Garrett, high five. Shortest generalities ever.
Click. Yeah, so let's get into it. This will be a fairly breezy episode because these are basically content packs.
Yes.
We mentioned that before. And even though it sounds like we've been mildly down on them, this is a super cool game. If you're interested in this, we're going to spoil like first impressions, all these cool levels and things like that. And I can't recommend, like, eventually this is going, the way that video games work is that in 3 years, there's going to be like the Omni pack of all the Hitman levels in the Hitman 3 engine for like $40.
Yep.
And it's hard for me to think of a better value
Yeah.
in video games.
Still, just a completely unqualified recommendation.
Yeah. Somebody, I was watched a Super Bunny Hop video about this, and he was talking about how this might be like kind of the swan song of the stealth genre. Like how big budget stealth games don't really come out anymore. And if it is, it's a hell of a one.
Yeah,
because in terms of like, stealth go, like this is some of my favorite stealth in games. Because the stealth is entirely optional and it's really creative. You can come at it from a lot of different angles.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
if this is goodbye, it's a sweet goodbye.
Agreed. Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. So we start with the story recap, which we should probably go through just for everybody's sake, so we're on the same page. Diana and Agent 47 were the best assassins in the world. I like how they include Diana in that because she is so important to the way 47 works. In the first game, they were hired by the Shadow Client and inadvertently took out high-ranking people in this organization called Providence.
Yes. And there's this character named the Constant, Mrs. Burnwood, who has this kind of
Arthur
like low
Edward.
nasal power only changes hands. Whenever I do it, I kind of sound a little bit like the Fishman from the old Team Venture.
Oh yeah.
So he's the controller of Providence, and he started working with 47 and Diana to seek out the Shadow Client with the promise of information about 47's past. So you first thought like, oh, the Shadow Client's the real villain, but it turns out the Shadow Client is Lucas Gray, who is 47's good buddy, his only friend.
Yeah, childhood friends. They grew up. There's a prequel comic about them. Yeah.
Yeah, just being buddies, just a couple of guys being bros. This makes them switch sides and start targeting Providence intentionally. And that is kind of at the end of the second game, you capture the Constant and find the location of the 3 Providence partners.
Right.
The idea is to eliminate them, but the Constant, in fact, has a trump card, which was revealed in the last game, which is that he knows that 47 killed Diana's parents.
Yes. This tragic event in Diana's life that kind of set her onto the path that she ended up on. So that's kind of, we were curious how they were going to resolve that, because it's a real upset to the status quo if Diana stops working with 47, and she kind of does for a while. Diana's not your handler for a lot of this.
She's playing the long con in this in a way that something I keep seeing online, which is a phrase I'd heard before, but I'm seeing it more now, is competence porn.
Yeah. You're John Wick or you're the Martians, right?
Yeah, like you just want, and this feels like that, where I'm like, yeah, at no point does 47 really feel like he's betrayed. And at no, like Diana just knows what he'll pick up. Like the amount of trust that they have in each other really sells this relationship.
Yeah.
Like almost telepathic, the way they communicate to each other, and just him seeing what, figuring it out.
Yeah.
What she was doing in the long haul. Is really, really cool. It makes the last mission, which is like probably the least replay value of any mission in Hitman, really satisfying the first time you go through it.
Yeah. Agreed. But we got some partners to take out.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So we start off with this cinematic. Gray is talking about the forces behind the headlines, Providence. As they're traveling through Saudi Arabia into the desert of Dubai, walking. which I don't know why.
They just wanted to get some of those good Lawrence of Arabia shots, I think.
Yeah, they want to get some steps in.
Yeah.
They had to satisfy their Apple Health app. And then they're going to skydive, which is like, man, we could have got there this way.
Yeah.
To the tallest tower in the world, the Scepter, which is built by the what is the family?
It's like Al Ghazali, I think.
We know these guys.
Yeah.
We've heard of them before.
Yes.
So basically just pontificating about Providence, but we're going to skydive in.
Yes. Yeah. Tallest building in the world, kind of modeled after the Burj Khalifa. This is an indoor level, which is a departure. Like previously, only the New York bank level kept you inside the whole time. Here, though, you're like on the upper levels of this thing that like literally pierces above the clouds. Like this is a big dick stuck straight in God's eye.
Yes, this is a dick in God's eye.
Yeah.
As they're doing this, they get separated because they nearly run into Alexa Carlisle's helicopter. She's one of the targets, but we're not going. She's leaving. She's going to be for next mission. We thought we were going to be able to get all three. We're only able to get two now.
Yes.
Which are Marcus Stuyvesant, who has old money from real estate, including owning most of New York, and Carl Ingram, whose family made money selling gunpowder in the Revolutionary War. Now he's in oil and coal. He's a real dick.
Yes. Yeah.
They're both dicks. Everybody but he's a specific dick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, 47 pretty much entirely kills old money. Is what he's doing.
It's great.
Yeah. You arrive on the inauguration of the Scepter. The story canonical ending, super dramatic, has you starting on one of the supports high above the cloud line, and you have to walk in while kind of Lucas is, cutting in on the radio. He is also on the scene, or no, he got separated, so he's not with you here, but he will be the one who is kind of like doing your hacking and stuff, and just being your handler generally. Yeah,
he's teaching you about your camera.
Yeah.
The idea here is it's a camera, but also if you take a picture, he can hack it remotely, which I don't understand how that works.
Nope.
But it's fine. You get into the building through the window, pass through this utility hallway, and there's a curtain at the end of it. When you pass through it, your skydiving gear just melts off and you're in a suit. This bit me in the ass because I tried to use this little alcove as a place. Like I led somebody back here and then couldn't go through this curtain.
Almost exactly the same. So I ended up knocking the guy out and just leaving there thinking, nobody's coming back here.
Yeah, hopefully this is a disused corner.
Yeah.
Here. But we go in here and it's beautiful. As soon as we go in, there's this ribbon cutting speech that's happening with one of the Ghazali's sons, giving this grandiose speech, and we're just free to be here at this high society event in this beautiful, beautiful sunlit tower.
Extremely shiny floors. Everything is black and gold, and the walls mostly glass, so you can see out to the heavenly skyline. Just fucking gorgeous. There's little else I can say about it.
When you come back a second time and you are disguised as one of the caterers, that really brings like a lot of the class stuff.
Yeah. Well, because you're in the shitty.
You're getting the pep talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, make sure you don't touch any food unless you're a cook. I don't want to see you fucking tasting any of this. You need to be invisible. No one needs to see that you're here.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Which has double entendre thing, but also we shouldn't treat servants like they're invisible.
No.
They're people too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only alternate entrance I did on this was just I started as a party goer because that felt like it gave me the most options at the start.
Gotcha.
But
second time I went there as a caterer.
Yeah, but like a lot of Hitman levels, this has that contrast. It's like a Dishonored game a little bit, where there's a front stage and a backstage. Like in this one, quite literally, like there's an art installation that you can get backstage on and stuff. Yeah.
Let's talk about the mission stories, just as a quick refresher for people who just experience these games vicariously through the podcast. Mission stories are kind of sets of nested objectives that will give you an opportunity to usually be alone or at least just expose your target.
Yeah.
A lot of times these will suggest a specific way to kill them. Sometimes it won't, though. It's just a way to like flush them out.
Yeah.
And in this game, they feel a little bit more complicated in a good way. It's not just like go grab the disguise from this dude and now you're this dude. There's a little bit more to it.
Yeah. These used to be called opportunities in Hitman 1 and 2. I don't know why they changed the name, but
I thought they changed it in 2. I thought 2 was mission stories.
Oh,
and the
I
first one
could be
one
incorrect.
Opportunities.
Yeah. At one point, they were just called opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lucas gives you your first one as you walk up to a friendly map kiosk. He's like, that gives me an idea. Kiosks, eh? Apparently there's a server room near the Sheik's personal reception, and if you can get back in there, he can mess with their calendar. And this is also where he says like he wants to, chew them out.
Yeah, he would like an opportunity to speak with them.
Yeah, he wants them to know why they're being killed.
Yes. The story-directed way has you kind of going back outside the building and climbing along the side of it to an upper, kind of more secure level of the party. Terrifying to cling to the side of this building. Just nothing below you but clouds. It's they sell the drama of that very well. But you can get into the back hallways, into the server room. This involved turning on vacuums to bring people out. And so I could Sandman them. And then,
so you put them to sleep. So you can give them brain damage.
Yes, yeah.
Something on the way up here. This is the second set of kills. My second pass, I did this one. Because it allows you to get both of them at once. But there's it's interesting how there are mission stories that are not really labeled as such.
Yeah,
you got it here in the notes, but on your way up here, a woman talks about how she's going to murder somebody with an exploding golf ball.
She says, "No, that's crazy. That's a wacky idea." Yeah,
and the there's no story for that, but later I did hear one of the characters talk about how they love to go golfing once a day. So I was like, oh, if I wanted to, I could put this together.
Yeah,
like kind of build my own exploding 1%er.
Well, I mean, think about how monstrous that is. Okay, I'm on top of this, the tallest building in the world. I'm going to be driving a golf ball off of this out into a crowded city. This thing will be deadly when it reaches terminal velocity. Somebody out there is getting brained, or at the very least, there's a lot of property damage happening.
Yeah, well, that's why it's good to make it blow up and kill that guy.
True.
Fuck people shooting golf balls off of a building.
Yeah.
When you first get here, you get some bad advice. Lucas says, we'll just try pulling one of the mainframes here. And you do that, and it causes a security alarm. So you have to hide. This is fun and tense. You only get a little bit of time to get out and hide until they do the all clear. And when you get back inside, something has changed. So you can see which one of them you're supposed to pull.
Yes.
To get access to the meeting room. And Lucas uses the calendar to summon both the targets for a meeting with the Sheik.
Right. They have this special kind of confidential meeting room that can be sealed up. Like shutters will drop, isolating everything. So you will have every opportunity in the world to take care of them. So you mess around with their GCals, hope that it will sync, no problem, not a guarantee. And then you go to the meeting room. Where Ingram and Stuyvesant are waiting for the Sheik, but also talking about how Alexa kind of fucked them. Like, she bugged out of here, because they know that something is happening. Everybody else around them is being killed. Like, things need to be bad. I think at this point, all of them have faked their deaths to a certain extent or are hiding.
They're definitely in hiding.
Yeah.
At this point. I didn't do it, but I wonder if you get unique dialogue here if you come in disguised as the Sheik.
I don't know.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure there's that would be cool to see. I have not tried that yet. But instead, I push the little button to seal them in. You have to do this quick when you kill them, because they'll run over and kick the button to open it up and let all the guards. But yeah, I very similar to you. I just knifed him. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lime knife right by the right by the button at the cocktail station, and I figured, this will hurt extra because it has lime on it.
Yeah. Lemon juice. Keep that for Ingram.
Yeah,
fucker. And then you get to leave. Like, this is the smoothest way you can really do it. Lucas thanks you for giving him a chance to talk to him, and one of the first exit that's available to you is just a balcony with a set of like a parachute next to it.
Yeah,
so you just jump off.
Yep, badass. Jump off and head to the rendezvous. There are ways to get both of the others together alone as well. And I imagine were these the ones that you did to get them separately first?
Well, I did. So Bird of Prey was the first one I did. And then the second one, I electrocuted Stuyvesant at the art installation, which is not a mission story.
Gotcha.
It's like one of those put together your own mission stories. But you can turn off the safety regulation, and he goes and inspects it with the artist, and you electrocute both of them.
You throw him a little Electric Sun Desert Music Festival.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah. The art installation that they're doing here is badass.
Yeah, it's all like
it looks really cool
pixel block clouds. It's like that city from Nier Automata.
Yeah, it looks really neat. Yeah. But there's no story to that one. That's the one I did. What's pretty cool here is the first story mission I did, which is Bird of Prey. When you walk up, there's a guy named Zane the Vulture Kazim who is stuck at a security checkpoint. He won't get frisked.
Yeah.
And he says, he's there on a personal invitation. You want to disguise yourself as him and come in as an assassin working for the targets.
Yeah. So he goes and walks over and like to a green area, like on a balcony overlooking the entire city. And the way that you can distract him over, there's like a little panel where you can turn on the sound system where it just like plays nature sounds and what have you. So I turned it on and I choked him out and took his clothes, and I walked away, and other people kept on hearing, like, I would get a little
you
like
turn
picture
off that radio, man.
You got to turn off the radio. Like I would be like, okay, I'm walking up, and then I get the picture in picture, like, boo, what's this over here?
That radio song.
And then I have to turn around, rush down, and choke out the next person, hide them in the brush. And it kept on happening.
That's great.
I didn't realize that they would. I didn't realize that they would keep on on inspecting the radio. Yeah, you got to turn it off.
Oh yeah, people hate there being ambient music in this lounge zone. For some reason, turning the same thing with when you're overflowing sinks and shit, or the hilarious toilets in this level. Yeah,
little friendly helper, little friendly helper toilet robots.
Yeah, that analyze your poop to tell you if you're sick or whatever. So when when you go and meet with Ingram here as the Vulture, he wants you to take out this journalist and take a picture of him. So he knows that he's dead. And then when you drown that journalist in a toilet and analyzes his head as poop, great moment.
There is
the journalist was
too much bone in this poop.
The low quality ham. This was the guy I tried to bring back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Of the level, and just like, so then I ended up bringing him to a bathroom.
Gotcha.
After that.
Yeah. No, I just knocked him out next to the coats.
Yeah.
I staged it as some kind of coat accident. Yeah. But you take the picture of the journalist back up to Ingram, and he's ready to talk brass tacks with you. But he's smart. He doesn't dismiss his guards as he kind of like walks you around and gives you an impossible task. He was hiring the Vulture to take out the Constant. And it's like, dog, I've spent 2 games, 14 missions trying to do this.
Yeah. You're gonna have to wait your turn.
Yeah.
He eventually will go and walk out on the balcony, and that's where you can shove him.
Okay.
Here, but he doesn't immediately dismiss his guards because he's smarter than most of the people.
You don't become a partner in Providence by dismissing your guards. Yeah. No, like he came in, gave the talk, and then started walking out with his bodyguard. And I was like, boy, I pooched it. So I choked him out on the stairs and ran away. And it's like chaos mode. Then I ran.
Yeah. Which is, part of the appeal.
Yeah.
I did like a bunch of the steps of the third mission story that's presented, the insecurity one.
Yeah.
But never sealed the deal. Like I picked up the uniform and the transporters and stuff. But by that point, I either had Stuyvesant heading towards the meeting room or was already at the Electric Sun Music Festival.
Yes. Yeah. There's a character detail about Stuyvesant that I didn't find in the game, but just when I was doing reading to know what I was talking about. Apparently he's estranged from his daughter, and you can lure him out by pretending that she is here to see him, which is fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's great. Real good stuff. The in-game version is that he has a bodyguard.
Yeah.
Who's a new guy, and you can take his place.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do this though, so I did not experience it.
Yeah. And there's another one, kind of a fake mission story, or make your own mission story, where you can issue an evacuation order. If you do nothing, they will just get into their helicopter and leave. If you kill the helicopter pilot, they will put on some chutes and base jump just like you would. Or if you kill the helicopter pilot and slash the chutes, they will willingly jump to death to their own death on their own.
That's great.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is suggested in the achievements as well. Like when we're saying like fake, mission stories, it just means that the game isn't presenting them in mission.
Yeah, it's not like as a mission story that will like give you waypoints and stuff.
Yeah, they're still real. They're just they show up through challenges.
Yeah.
So we get our little cinematic here, having taken out these two targets. 47 meets Lucas on the streets of Dubai, and 47 mentions that they underestimated the constant. And Lucas says, I don't trust Diana. He's wrong, but he doesn't know it yet, and he's close to being right.
Right.
And they do the conversation, which I love that this game's kind of predicated on, like, what happens after this?
Right.
He's like, you may not be able to go back to the ICA, and just the idea of 47, like, I am a third base coach. I don't know what 37 is going to do, or 47 is going to do after this.
Who's bringing the orange drink to practice next week?
I need an orange drink. Basically what this sets up is a superhero who kills one percenters, like the Punisher, but like rich Punisher.
Yeah.
That's what he's basically got to do, because he's not about to like start bagging at Safeway.
No, you can't Henry Hill this. Yeah.
He would do it so fast.
There is no blue heaven waiting for him.
Can you imagine how efficient he would bag groceries?
Oh man, it'd be impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yes. But Lucas says it's okay. We were at an impasse here, but come on, we've got a plane to catch. I hope you like the rain, 47, because they're headed to Scotland. Elsewhere, Diana gets a call from the Constant, and he threatens her, despite the fact that she remains defiant. And he says, "Surely you understand, or at least you will."
Surely you understand. Or at least you will, Mrs. Burnwood.
Yeah.
These are
competing
animated
candidates
as well.
Yes. Oh yeah, they leave the motion comics style.
Yeah. So this starts Dartmoor, Death in the Family. Lucas and 47 look down on the Carlisle mansion, the birthplace of Providence. And they're still asking a question, like, who will you be without a score to settle? To each other. Like, what does life look like after this?
Yeah, well, I mean, 47 asked that to Lucas, right? Because Lucas is the one who has been primarily revenge motivated ever since he got his memory back. And I think this is where Lucas says, "Oh, I guess I'll just have to settle for being the most wanted man in the world."
Yeah, I don't think you should be casting stones, 47.
Nope.
I think Lucas seems a lot more well-adjusted to real life than you do.
Yeah.
He's not this weird, like, lurid murder golem, What's really interesting about this is that we are going, Alexa Carlisle faked her death. So we're going to her funeral.
Yeah.
And her family just found out that she faked her death.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting thing where we don't have two assassination targets. It's her, and then also her case file on the Constant in her safe.
Yes. So you have her entire family here gathered together, potentially to grieve, but many of them are pretty much just interested in the dispersal of assets.
Once they find out she's not really dead, they're all pretty over it. As you might imagine.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I disrupted my life for this bullshit. Alexa's guards know that somebody is coming, right? Why else would she have faked her death? If not because she had a tail on her. So Lucas is going to a nearby field HQ to stop calls for support. That's why, more people do not flood in to this fucking gorgeous mansion in the middle of just a blasted heath on the moors. Love it.
Good mansion. Good mansion.
Love that greenhouse out back. Yeah. When you pull up on a motorcycle some distance away, not disguised, this, and we overhear the private investigator that the Carlisles have hired.
for some mysterious reason. And this gives us our primary mission story during this, which is a big love letter to Knives Out, which is like I really like because I like a murder mystery. It is, I felt a little hinky about it being so Knives Out and Knives Out being really new.
Yeah.
You know, like just like a little bit, like not horrible or anything. Like I like this level quite a bit in terms of just the geometry of it, like secret passages and shit.
Oh yeah.
Like this is so good. But it was, and I loved going through the motions of this mission. It was just like weird to see a Knives Out reference when that movie feels like it's, you know, a year old.
Right.
At this point.
I've never seen Knives Out. I only know it from the reputation that, you know, it's good. And it has Daniel Craig really hammering it up with a Southern accent. I understand that it's good.
Voice.
just a real foghorn like horn kind of deal. So I was not necessarily wigged out because I didn't notice more parallels than rich family made of shitty people, any of which would have and could have done this for their own reason, you know?
Yeah.
And probably deserve everything they have coming to them. That's pretty much
I really love the
I
way that they play with motivation.
Yeah.
In this, which we'll talk about, but like this is entirely opt-in, you know, like you decide whether you want to do this mystery, and at multiple points you get to just be like, I probably got enough evidence to convince somebody.
Yes.
Like this isn't the right murderer, but I can get alone with Alexa.
I'm not actually here to solve this mystery. There's no replay value on this. Like you're only going to do it once, but like as license to wander freely around the premises, the PI disguise is really good. And you know, it's interesting to get to learn all these characters on your first run through. Afterwards, it becomes like just a good stealth puzzle box level. But like this is going to be your first, your first impression is going through the motions of this.
Yeah. And it, you know, again, as we mentioned, that's the big thing that separates Hitman 3.
Yeah.
Is the difference between your first playthrough. You know, when so we get there, we take out the private eye, take his clothes, and get frisked on our way in, so we can't bring our gun. And speak to Alexis, who talks about, you know, this is the death of her brother Zachary.
Yes.
You know, and she leads you up to take a look at the crime scene.
Yes. I love 47's line. In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Yeah.
Potential crime scene.
And we have to get all the clues here, like big LA noir energy or something. You know, this is apparently a suicide death by poison, where we're trying to find different facts. We can just, you know, mark the time of death on our own because we're great.
Yep.
And we find a secret passage out of this locked room. You know, there's also the balcony, but it is a straight up locked room mystery. Like, how did somebody get in?
Yeah. But there are secret passages where they're storing stuff here. And you can talk with Mr. Fernsby, the butler, who is very upfront, saying, I have no alibi for the time of death. You're going to have to take my word for the fact that I didn't do it. And he says, okay, Alexa's family members arrived last night prior to Zachary being discovered dead. They're the prime suspects that you need to investigate. So what you end up doing is going and speaking to all of them and exhausting their dialogue. And in your interface, you go into like your intel, like their profiles update with their story, and it will tell you if they're, you know, what they say their alibi was and whether or not it has been corroborated.
Yes. Yeah. Which is all pretty fun. You also want to go and sneak into the butler's quarters and get the mansion master key.
Yes.
Which is just through an open window and is one of the easiest master keys to gain in this game, I think. Very useful.
I remember I needed to go out to the greenhouse and get a crowbar to jimmy open his door because the window to his office was not open for me.
I wonder if that's one of those. Maybe I'm remembering my second playthrough.
Maybe,
and maybe it stays open. You know, maybe it's one of those one-way shortcuts that persist, because I remember just being able to crawl in and grab it. But it might have been on my second time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that will save you a lot of climbing on gutters and stuff as you get around, because even though you pretty much have free reign as the PI, like the individual bedrooms where the clues are hidden are locked for you. unless you have this key. So it's good to go to the butler first. We should talk about Zachary a little bit. Zachary is Alexa's brother, and he is kind of an eccentric recluse. He lives here in Dartmoor Mansion, like everybody else in the family has bigger concerns, businesses to run and such and such. He pretty much just lives here and grows rare plants. Very isolated. And when you talk to people, they say, oh yeah, like, the things just weren't right with him. He seemed depressed, with his sister dead, that like he would have every reason to think there was no more reason to go on. And we're going to talk to people and figure out whether or not that is correct. One of the things that you can find in his room is on his laptop, he was shopping for new boots, which is not something that you do if you're planning on checking out that night.
Oh, yeah, I've got a whole cart full of what I want to wear to my funeral.
That's fucking dark, dude.
Whoever finds my body just has to hit checkout. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I don't think it's that weird.
Okay. All right. No, just consider it, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Spider-Man costume. But
and you do,
I said didn't fight all the kids.
You do need to be buried upside down.
Yeah. Buried upside down as a Spider-Man in front of all the kids.
Uh-huh. Kids, Spider-Man's dead forever now.
Spider-Man lost his way and he's dead. Kids. You remember Fat Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse? Well, here he is, dead as a doornail. Kids.
Man.
We can also, like, when we're checking this stuff out, we can find in Fernsby's office, we can find Zachary's diary that has been half burned in the fireplace. Mm-hmm. So we can still read some of it and find out a big secret here that Zachary and Alexa conspired to murder their older brother 46 years ago, and Fernsby helped.
Yes. Helped to make it look like an accident. So there is conspiracy and complicity going on here.
Well, and finding this is the first thing where you're able to say, like, yeah, I could convince her that he killed himself.
Yeah, there's pain.
You could go up there.
There's painkillers in his office too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just be like, yeah, he was he was very guilty about what you guys did.
Yeah.
And I love that this just allows you, like, if you're not somebody who's going to have fun doing this whole mystery, you don't have to.
Right. Like potentially the first room you're going to go to, because obviously the butler is the one you have to check first. It gives you an out. I think if you do that, Alexa says, well, if he killed Zachary, he probably did it to protect the family because Zachary was planning to go public with it. So, Well, I mean, you can say that Fernsby did it, but you can also say that Zachary killed himself. Yes. Yeah.
Here, too, you can be like, he's just very guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if you decide, no, we're going to get to the bottom of this because as Agent 47, I need to fully inhabit a role. So we're gonna figure out what's going on. The next person that I talked to is Patrick, the shitty great nephew, the young the young social media socialite who sleeps with the help and leads them on. He was out for a quote stroll with one of the maids, Rosie, and she confirms this. Like, you can find her weeping in the servants' quarters, talking about like how he's not giving her the time of day now. And he's a
fuckboy.
Yeah, his only opinion on Zachary is that he had no ambition. He says he used to be much more like Alexa, I heard, but then all the fight went out of him. Probably going to be traumatized if you kill your brother, even if it is to secure your legacy or whatever, some shit. And Patrick also says, man, I'm really happy that my dad married outside the family because all these people are inbred as fuck, which is ironic. So...
Rebecca, so the youngest child of Alexa, she says she was on, and one of the only people in this group that seems decent.
Yeah.
Was on a conference call for 3 hours at the time of death, which you can, verify on her laptop in her room. And she suspects Emma, who had her eye on inheriting the manor, and says, hey, be gentle with Edward when you find him.
Yes. Yeah, she cares for the middle child. I go and talk to Emma. She is Alexa's daughter-in-law. She married Gregory, the oldest son. She claims that she was in bed with a migraine. And she outright says, oh, I didn't like Zachary. He only seemed to care about plants. And she goes out on a limb, really just kind of confabulating some stuff, saying, oh, he was depressed over losing Alexa, his only friend and supporter. You know, it's kind of really putting an idea in your head.
Gregory, who is Alexa's oldest son, was at the pub with Edward until midnight, and they can corroborate each other.
Yeah.
He thinks that Zachary is better off dead than the way he was living here, just alone in a huge mansion, caring for plants, which, that sounds pretty good to me.
It does, yeah.
And I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
And Edward is the piano playing guy.
Yeah.
And he just confirms that they're both at the pub. He's very sensitive and neurotic.
Yeah, yeah. And a really good pianist. Like, all of the help is just, amazed by his by his ability when he sits down and plays on the manor piano. If you go and search Emma's room, you can find a letter that she got from her mother, stating that Emma's real father is Montgomery Carlyle, the brother who Alexa and Zachary had murdered. Emma was the illegitimate child who was basically hidden from the family. And so Emma married back in order to reclaim her inheritance because her mom felt that they were unjustly cut out by Montgomery's murder. Yes.
Yeah. When you look at Emma's room, you can find a keychain for the greenhouse. So it's like, okay, this might be a way that she could do it. If you head to the greenhouse, there's a book on the dosage for the poison to kill Zachary. And the next entry is somebody of Alexa's weight. And stuff. So it looks like she's about to poison Alexa next, which means you can just let her do it.
Yeah, you can get a wrench and fix the little chemistry set out in the greenhouse.
And then wait.
And then she'll come out and poison Alexa. Yeah.
It's great. And just let another assassination do the job.
I love it whenever that happens. That happens at least once more in my playthrough here.
Yeah. It's good shit.
Yeah.
Once you have all this stuff, you can go to Alexa and let her know all the truth. She doesn't want to hear it. But then you can eventually convince her. She asks what you want. If you ask for money, that keeps your cover. But if you say, I want the case file, she's like, oh, I know who you are.
Yeah. I figured you would come to me, but I didn't figure you would help me when you did it. So she figures, hey, you've earned this. Fuck Providence anyway. Edwards has got to go down. She unlocks the safe and then just go and hangs out on the balcony. I've seen people reading about how like this was her just kind of like intentionally setting herself up to die the same way that Montgomery was killed. I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It does seem like that you wouldn't want to turn your back on 47 at a balcony.
If you knew if you knew who and what he was. Regardless, I didn't push her like the game wanted me to. I had broken off the horn of a unicorn statue earlier. So figuring that because this was the family crest or whatever, I would throw it into her back and kill her that way and then dump her off to send a message.
Yeah. I just pushed her off.
Well, yes.
She got to go. I did the second or the first one you have here, the first mission story on my second pass, which is pretty fun. The actual assassination is not great shakes. Like they're doing a family photo. So you disguise yourself as the photographer and you sabotage it. So there's water leaking under where she's going to stand so you can explode her. The cool thing is you still have to get the case file at this point. So like she's dead, but I have no idea how to get that. And there's a weird little like clue.
It's like a rebus.
Little, like, cipher. Yeah, a little rebus that you do. And it was fun to sneak up to get into there without being seen and without the private eye costume.
The code ends up being 1975, which is the year that she killed her brother. Yeah. Something we're
living in the past. Contemporized, man.
Something about combinations in this game is that they do not change between runs. So if you know them, you can just, go and enter them regardless. Which is good.
I think I prefer.
Yeah, same. I only need to figure out the rebus once. Please do not make me do it every time. In fact, I would even go so far as to say, don't make me get this every time, actually.
Yeah.
But
just because it's going to be the same every time you do it.
the thing that I like about the assassination itself is you still have to take the picture in order to activate the circuit that will electrocute her, which means that you get a photograph of her convulsing on the chair, like her exact moment of death. The portrait that pops up is really good. the screenshot that you get.
It's also fun to just hear these shitty people have to make small talk while they're waiting for you, because it's just repulsive.
Yeah.
Well, classic gross rich like big family.
Patrick's little like arms crossed, I'm a badass like Xander Cage from the movie Triple X pose that he does.
Yeah. Yep. The character he's based on in Knives Out is a little alt-right shitlord.
Oh, fun.
So it's very appropriate.
Yeah. What's funny about any of these where you don't become the private eye is that you will see the private eye walking around and doing his own investigation and talking to people, and you can overhear him doing his own kind of like deductions with folks. It's fun to kind of like walk around and eavesdrop on that. Like he'll even point out that Emma bears a strong resemblance to Montgomery.
Yeah. I did not do the final resting place one. I hung out here and shot some bird's nest just to help out, member of the working class, but that's all I did.
Yeah, that's the first thing that you do. So this is one that will reveal if you go out by the graveyard next to this cool collapsed church that's on the property. Like one of the groundskeepers is talking about like, oh, the Undertaker won't do anything unless we get rid of these birds. He's not going to have birds ruining this funeral. So you can go and take down the bird's nest just with your, silenced pistol. People will still hear the bullet impacts, so you have to make sure they're not looking that direction. But that will get the Undertaker to come down. And you can take his disguise for the most on the nose, not the most on the nose. The most on the nose is if 47 dressed up as the Grim Reaper. But 47 as an Undertaker is pretty good. But Alexa comes down and she takes a look at the arrangements and is completely unsatisfied with everything. She does not want a portrait of herself here. She disagrees with the choice of flowers for the arrangement. She sees a podium and says, "I hope to God no family members give me a eulogy because it's always a cringeworthy affair." The only thing that she likes is the headstone, which is a simple granite marker with her name and the dates saying, yes, that's what I want. That's efficient. She is very obsessed with efficiency whenever she is addressing any of the staff. But you can kill her by pushing her into the grave, which has water at the bottom of it, and she will break her neck and drown, something like that. Yeah.
Everyone drowns as soon as their face touches water in this game.
Yes. Yeah.
And also, Hitman 3 confirms something we've all known. Eulogies are cringe.
Yeah.
The just kind of, I don't know if I believe that or not.
Just throw me on the side of the road, please.
Yeah. No coffin, please.
Just wet mud.
So we get a cinematic here. Things have gone bad. When you get your little like head for the exit thing from Diana Burnwood, you get distortion.
Yes.
And it feeds back. And Lucas leaves you a message saying like, Diana can't help you now. You need to find Olivia. There's gunfire in the woods. Basically, he's been compromised.
Yes.
You run up here. This cutscene's really great. The Constant walks in on Diana. And a bunch of these operatives of his, these Cicada operatives, are converging on Lucas. 47 is among them, and Lucas is like making conversation with 47 without them knowing. Like basically saying like, don't blow your cover. You can't take on all these dudes. Like you have to keep the mission alive.
Yeah.
And 47 isn't going to do that. This is his friend. And so he takes the choice from him.
Yes.
By shooting himself in the head.
Yeah. He says, tell the Constant to run as fast as he can, then kills himself to keep 47 under cover, which is, a big hit for 47. And also a pretty big upset for the story to take. I mean, Lucas is a major character here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's foreshadowing about this. The cover of this has him 47 wearing Lucas's signature coat.
I didn't realize that until literally I was putting the notes together and I was looking at Moby Games and I saw the cover like, oh, that high collar. Oh yeah, that's Lucas's coat. There we go.
Yeah. He took the coat. But really cool scene. The Constant shows Diana the case file for 47 killing her parents.
Yeah.
And 47 calls Diana and tells her to get to Berlin. It's just the two of them now, not knowing that the Constant is trying to leverage her against him. Then we get the first of our like very gimmicky levels that are nonetheless neat, but like are just totally different. Like way more fun the first time you go through it, I think.
Yeah. But still, it's a cool environment at the very least.
That's a great environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Berlin. The mission is called Apex Predator. There's no video briefing. There's literally just one line that says, "Find Olivia." Olivia is a character who had been an ally in the past. She initially was one of the hackers at the compound in Colorado. She ended up living. I think she helped you out with a mission in 2.
She was like Lucas's
Gotcha. Yeah.
buddy, like a handler, basically.
Yeah.
Like hacker.
Yeah.
So we start off at this bus stop near this gas station, and we find the payphone. She calls and says to abort. The ICA has tracked her. 47 says you'll handle it. And this mission is to infiltrate this rave in Berlin and kill ICA agents without alerting them there. There are 11 agents. You only have to kill 5 and they'll retreat. You can kill all of them if you want. That's a hidden objective.
Yep.
You can also kill everyone at the rave.
Yeah. All 800 or so
special
of them.
Message.
Yeah.
Just like everyone goes.
Just roll around as Jason. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, you threaten me.
Yeah.
Like everyone here is going to die. This is a rave at a decommissioned nuclear power plant. This is pretty great.
Yeah.
The first time you go through, like you end up taking out an agent who's stalking in the woods nearby. You get his earpiece and this sets you on your mission. So you get to overhear their communique, but you don't have your targets pointed out for you.
Right. The only way that I knew who was an ICA agent was they still had the overseer dot above them, marking them as being hostile, but you did not have the predator vision or instinct vision where you could, where they were highlighted red on the map until you clocked them in person. That changes when you come back to this mission later on. All of them are highlighted to you.
Yes. But there are not, those like ironic puzzle box story disguise things. Like, since they're all always overseers, there's no way to fool them or anything. So this mission is like one big kind of beautiful, interesting level where you're going to be doing constantly things like, leaving a gun in a path to get a guy to, bring it back to a security office where you've set a trap.
Yeah.
Or just throw a coin to get somebody to duck behind a speaker and strangle them.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like it's letting you do all of the, and it ends up being like, I love the environment and I love the first time I played it.
Yeah.
I really like there being a level where it's just like, hey, just do whatever.
It's just a big playground. Like you have all of these targets that are in differing parts of this. It's a gigantic level too. The actual rave has multiple stories to it. There are multiple bars. Like outside, there are like all kinds of little like breakout areas that you can get into. There are multiple
Juice
ways.
bars.
Yeah, there are multiple ways in. Even if you start from out in the woods, either kind of sneaking in the back through the coat room or helping a party goer looking for his allergy pills, amphetamines. Yeah, It's really good. It's a big playground that is super interesting. And there are a couple of like big set piece things. Like you can take out 2 of the agents by short circuiting a light show down on the main dance floor, which has you lighting a huge tree that they've rigged with lights on fire up on the catwalks, killing 2 of them. In order to trigger it, you have to sabotage the failsafe and then disguise yourself as a DJ. which Hitman obviously knows how to do and knows when to drop a beat. So
yes. Yeah, because he's hyper competent in all things.
I played Fuser.
Yeah, I played Fuser. This ended up being, I was as sloppy as I've ever been.
Oh God, yeah.
Both run throughs of this, like it was targeting my weakness as a Hitman player.
Yeah.
I am just like was not as good at this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just kept getting caught and then running and then just like changing 23 skidoo, changing clothes and just waiting for the heat to die down.
Yeah.
And going and taking out another guy. One of the ways that I really things I really like is that there's a sniper. All these different agents kind of have specialties.
Yeah.
And if you can take out the sniper, you can take his sniper rifle back out to the woods into the radio tower. And you can snipe like 2 of these dudes from the roof, which was satisfying to me. There's a later sniper mission as well, the next mission, where you can do some sniping. And I always was disappointed that in Hitman, the sniping felt like it was relegated to like the shitty mini game that I'm never going to do.
Yeah.
Like the shitty sniping levels. That just don't work for me. I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah. Like all of this adds up. I've only played a little bit of like pre-Absolution Hitman. I'm kind of a fake fan of the series, but like this reminds me of missions in Blood Money a little bit. Before the world of Assassination trilogy, you ended up having, especially in Blood Money, wide open levels that were, that didn't have the emphasis on story missions. Like you kind of had to find and discover that on your own. With those levels, this felt very akin to that to me.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. And it's fun. It's really, really satisfying when you go through it the first time. And the second time it was just lots of chaos and shooting.
Yep.
As you go, you get to have the Batman, like the Arkham experience of them getting more scared of you.
Yeah.
Which is always really satisfying.
Oh yeah, and like the handler who's not present, starts addressing you directly. When she realizes that their comms have been compromised.
Yeah.
After
you take out 5, she pulls everyone. She's not losing any other people, and then you can radio Olivia and be like, "No, we've sent a message. They'll leave us alone."
Yeah, meet me at this diner nearby. So you go out there for this cutscene, Agent of Change. Olivia is sitting on the floor of the diner. It's abandoned and she's hurt. She actually had to kill somebody. Like one of the agents came for her. And she's never had to do that before.
She asks about Lucas, since they were buddies before, about his death. And 47 said he made it count, which is a good line here. We cut over Diana in her like cool Walter White cabin, where the Constant calls her and, he taunts her like, despite all your best efforts, you're back at the status quo. You're powerless. You should know the power is not something you can destroy. It's something that just changes hands. Perhaps you'd like to have that. You could be the next Constant. Change things from the inside.
Yeah. Which is a devil's offer if there ever was one. And he doesn't need an answer right now, so he's not forcing this as an ultimatum or anything. He's just he just knows, there's no hurry on this. He feels like he is entirely in control.
And she doesn't fall for it, and that's why Diana's our girl.
Yep. We get another cutscene here. The kind of the briefing for Chongqing, which is the path of least resistance. Olivia says that the Constant has completely eliminated all traces of his old life. And there's something about him in the global information network. Anything that gets recorded about him is immediately corrupted, which is basically a description of a modern Lovecraft entity.
Yeah. And they find her, they hack into her laptop. Like she's used every encryption, but they're the best. They're bound to get lucky. They're not sure what to do yet. And 47 says, like, I know where the ICA keeps its files. The path of least resistance is to go there and leak those to the public.
Yeah.
And he kind of does the briefing here. He, and then passes it on to Olivia. We still get our cool little briefing, like animatic, but
just the motion graphics in this are so fucking good. Yeah.
Yeah. I love all those intros. Yeah. The data facility is held in Chongqing, and it's run by a transhumanist named Hush and a woman named Imogen Royce.
Both of these people are fucking awful.
Well, we're now entered. We're fully Shadowrun-ulated.
Yep.
This is a Shadowrun.
Yep.
Every part of this is a Shadowrun, and we're doing it in a Shadowrun environment.
It's fucking gorgeous is what it is. This beautiful, rainy, kind of like rundown city, just neon and mist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good. It's nighttime.
The idea is if we can kill them both at the same time, then Olivia will be able to get into the security system.
Yeah.
This is gorgeous. As you mentioned, and it is explicitly like cyberpunk. Like the outfit you have here is called like Neon City or something like that.
Yep.
And the stories here that are happening here are very sci-fi indeed.
Yes. Yeah. So Chongqing is very surveilled, like actually in real life too, one of the most surveilled cities on the planet. And kind of the conceit is that Royce and Hush are kind of behind it. They're the people who administer it. Hush is running his experiments out of an abandoned apartment building, while Royce has kind of a more standard role administering the data security of the facility itself.
Yes. When you start off here, if you don't do anything for a little while, did you do the thing where you stand there and give the girl who's being stood up on a date really good advice for a little bit?
No, I didn't.
It might only be when you come back, but you're standing there with an umbrella blending in when you start, and she's talking, asking if you've seen this girl. Like she asks this girl out for drinks, and you just give her really good advice the entire time. Like I love Competent 47.
Yeah.
Where she's just like, she used to be my rock. Like she used to be so dependable. And you're like, if she agreed to meet you in the middle of the night in the rain, that means she must like you, and like, she's like, oh, you're right. I feel so stupid just inviting her out for drinks, though. She's probably ruining her shoes. Like, perhaps you can pick up the tab.
Yeah.
Like, it reminded me of Venture Brothers stuff, like with the Sovereign giving advice to Phantom Limb.
Perhaps go jogging with friends.
Yeah. Like, spill your heart to the tear-stained pages of Dear Diary. Like, I would love the 47 advice show.
Yep. Which is funny. 47, who has had at most one meaningful human relationship, maybe one and a half with Lucas.
Yep.
Offering this very emotionally competent input to a complete stranger.
It's really good. It's very charming. One of the first disguises you're going to want to get here is that there's an encampment of unhoused people here, and this is where we start getting into the real cyberpunk shit.
Yeah.
Here, because something is preying on the homeless people here, and they are begging for people to stop. You'll hear people talk about being ambushed. By homeless people, like somebody popped out of the ground and accused them of stealing her mind.
Yeah. People are hearing voices, kind of the play, like this is either a horrible cliche or something is going on that is leaning into the cliche. Understanding that the unhoused population is going to be kind of invisible to the economically viable people in the city, right?
And this starts kind of the premier story mission for that side, for the Hush side, which is impulse control.
Yeah.
Which is very cool, like cool little short story and exceedingly Shadowrun.
Yes.
You go into the block as a person from the street, and you immediately, as you get walked up, the guard starts talking shit about you.
Yep.
Like he's just like, and again, you get that awesome 47 double entendre thing where he's like, you smell like shit, man. You should change your clothes more. And he's like, I change my clothes all the time. It's, but it's immediately, it's dark.
Yeah.
Immediately, this is not an altruistic organization.
You can't get in the front door if you are just dressed as 47. Like you come in, they say, hey, this place isn't for you. The front is that this is a shelter that will take, that primarily serves disadvantaged folks. And it is just a paper thin front. Everything up and above, there are no actual apartments here where people are living. It is all office space and lab space.
Yeah. When you head up, you can overhear a woman giving somebody the waiver, and they're just paying people for this experimentation.
Right.
But it's really harsh terms. It's really horrible. But you can also overhear that they found a really good subject. that Hush is really excited to experiment on. You can head up, and he's in the bathroom. He's nervous, so you have to go into the bathroom and take over, as that subject.
He has a QR code on the back of his neck as opposed to a barcode. If you scan the QR code with your camera in game, you'll get a little video of the IOI team waving at you.
Yeah, cute.
Yes.
Super cute. And what Hush is doing is they're both doing like mind control, sinister mind control, like dark science shit.
Yeah.
He's doing specifically like body control stuff, like where he wants to be able to hook into somebody and then manipulate their body.
Yes. And he's set up like these little control chairs, they're facing each other. It's almost set up like a game, like one side is under red light, the other is under blue light. And he has two assistants, one of which is kind of controlling the power level of the machine. And he is trying to assert his will over 47 using whatever injection he got. But 47, because, he is who he is able to resist it. Every time 47 forces control away from Hush's, hands, Hush will experience great pain in his head. Like it takes a lot out of him to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he wants to keep pushing the experiment. He has one assistant who is urging safety, and then another evil assistant who is like, yes, override the safety, become the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
So you have to take out the good assistant so the bad assistant can take over. They put it up to 120 machine, and 47 just raises his fist and clenches it and fries his brain.
It's so good.
Incredible moment.
Yeah.
It's just an accident kill and you're fine. Nobody suspects you. It's just like, you just, live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah. Live by the mind control chair, die in a mind control chair. Yeah. I love any of the kills where the guards will escort you out to safety.
Yeah. Just like as you were, sir.
Yeah. Just kicking me back onto the street in a hospital gown.
Yeah. Just like, okay, well, I'll just go find my Neon City suit. I'm going to break into that cool arcade.
Yeah.
Internet cafe that's on the ground floor here. The second mission I did, the second time through here, was this All Seeing Eyes one, which is really convenient. You head up to the, someone mentions that they're looking for a broken drone. When you find the broken drone, which is up on the roof, your handler says that if you take a picture of that, she can tap into Imogen's phone.
Yeah.
And if you do this, you can find out that she's upset about the broken drones, and she suspects Hush of doing it to counteract her surveillance. So if you take out all these drones in the sniper nest, which you have to kind of balance like sniping and then guards coming up to check out where you're at. But if you do it, Royce and Hush come out to have a little meet up on the roof, and they're both just there.
Oh, so you can just snipe them and you're good?
Yeah, you just snipe them both. From there, like you want to snipe Hush first because he's closer to the door. But this, this is your kind of shortcut to get them both out at the same time. If you're doing the, you still have to go in and do the upload thing if you're doing the first time through this.
Yeah.
But this will end the mission on the second time.
Nice. So. Yeah, I attempted to do this, and it was fun shooting the drones out of the sky, like waiting for them to reach the end of their little patrol route, so they were like standing still for a second. But yeah, the guards just ended up being a real pain, and I was not able to successfully accomplish what I needed to.
Yeah, it again, I mentioned, it is fun to be able to snipe.
Yeah,
in these games.
But the big centerpiece here, aside from Hush, is the other side of our little mind control, which is less asserting will and more demonstrating that there's no such thing as free will. Which is certainty principle, which involves Imogen Royce and the actual facility that is kind of built under the city streets. The front is this noodle restaurant that you can go to. There is a high-level person from the ICA, Mr. Pritchard, who is here for a tour, and you want to first get the form that he is missing by getting to his apartment, but then you need to poison his dumplings so that you can knock him out in the bathroom and assume his identity, so you can get basically led on a tour right to the things that you need to access to finish the mission.
This is really fun. This is a super fun mission.
Yeah.
I love getting the tour, you inside. Like this whole thing is really crazy. How resourced the ICA is. Like this whole facility is set to be, it's modular, so it can be shipped elsewhere and dismantled in 12 hours.
Yep.
And it's in a building where there's been an order for demolition, but the order's been lost.
Yep.
And they can just like put in a thing to find it. So within a day, this building can be demolished.
Yeah.
If they need it to be.
Love it.
Very cool.
I mean, the ICA is badass. There's very little to argue against that.
It's really fun when you go when you're down here the first day. So you have to get frisked, and then they're going to do a scan of you, a full scan, which the AI would recognize.
Yeah.
So you have to really quickly hack into it, and the only computer that's available has a screen. There's just somebody just watching you. Kind of there. So you have like 60 seconds, and you have to like close the little view panel to close the window so she can't see you hacking. And 60 seconds is so much time, but it doesn't feel like it.
I mean, especially when it puts the timer right up in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Extremely Shadowrun. Like the Decker is, telling you how to do this stuff as you are. Yeah. You don't want to blow your cover in here.
Yeah.
So,
so after you do that, you are handed off to Imogen Royce herself. And just the way that she is dressed, dear God.
Yeah.
Like
really obnoxious people in this level.
Yeah. Combination of like weird flowy, she's dressed like a less revealing, Emma Frost is what she looks like.
She's got like scarring on her forehead.
Yeah. Like
body mod scarring.
Yeah. But she's here and she's extremely cocky because she has developed this system that she's going to be showing you around. First off, she takes you to the server room, which is this basically like nuclear core at the center of the facility, and says, if we need to, everything, all traces of biological matter inside of here can be incinerated at a moment's notice. Wink, wink. And then she shows you the pièce de résistance, which is her surveillance system hooked up to AI that allows her to predict everyone's move to a huge degree of certainty.
Yeah, real gross sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
Here. And she's trying to leverage this for career advancement.
Right.
Like she's like, you have sway with the board. Let me show you what I've been working on.
Yeah.
And she shows you these employees and says, like, these are employees. This is what they do. This is what they'll do if I fire them. What do you want to do? Like, fuck around with this. Yeah. She walks away. She says, like, come let me know when you made a decision, but you don't have to. And this is like a little order of operations puzzle.
Yep.
Because they each do something that will lead to a like Rube Goldberg machine of her getting sterilized.
Yep, of getting immolated. And you're just here to press buttons. In order to do this, you have to fire all three of them. They'll probably be fine.
Well, like the last mission, all ICA agents are
marked for.
So it's
but
not a good company.
But I mean, what she is doing, if she is good with this, she will have made the existing model of physical assassins and their handlers who are guiding them obsolete, because they can just predict where somebody is going to be after a certain stimulus and then drone them. So, not the best way to handle things.
The real John Henry story of Agent 47
against this machine,
against the AI.
Yeah. But she's right about these guesses. So what you have to do, you have to fire this guard. I really feel for this guard because he leaves his post and calls Royce's bodyguard because he thinks that they're buddies. Like he wants somebody to commiserate with, right? So that gets Royce separated from her guard. There's a technician who has a bad attitude, who sabotages the failsafe on the sterilization function before she leaves. And then there's a good technician who will activate the sterilization function like she always would at the end of her shift.
Yeah. So if you deactivate, get rid of the bodyguard, deactivate the safety protocol, and then activate the good employee at the end, Royce will get immolated.
Yes. It's tricky to do that with only her in there. So, if you're going for like a perfect or whatever, but I'm not going for perfect. Nobody here is innocent. Maybe the janitors.
Everybody can go if they have to.
Yeah.
It's a video game. Relax. When you do so, you go in and go into the data thing, and you're about to send it out. You search all the files mentioning you and Diana to kind of delete them, so you can not, get yourself and Diana in trouble. But you get a little video of the first meeting between you and Diana, which is the tutorial of Hitman 2016.
Yes. What was killing like random disorder?
Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah. So you upload the rest of this whistleblower site, and then our cover is blown and we have to fight our way out. You only have to do this once. And this is kind of foreshadowing of the last level. It feels like, this, I really like that this entry expanded to allow like lit 47 off the leash.
Yeah.
A little bit. I died a bunch of times getting out of here. I found this very difficult.
Yeah.
And, this, I mean, it's pretty late in our coverage of the series for me to reveal, like, maybe I'm not very good at this game.
Same. Yeah. I'm not getting Silent Assassin. Like, I'm not one of those people.
I'm not getting good ranks, and I'm dying a lot when it comes to the gunplay because I'm not used to it.
Same.
I found this fun. Like, it was fun and the building is like blowing up as this is happening. Like, you're going through the vents and shit, and there are sections that end up on fire. And stuff. But this was very disempowering in the opposite of the way that the last level is very empowering. I think.
Yeah, I mean, because when it comes down to it, if bullets start flying, you're only one man, against an entire army in a facility that is meant to keep you out and in,
Yeah. Very tricky.
Yeah. You're not pressing your normal advantages.
We get a little cutscene here after we make it out. The Constant sitting in his office watching the news report about the ICA leak, and Diana calls him and says, you win. I've seen the data leak. 47 is operating on his own. He's absolutely unstoppable. And, here's the thing you need to know about 47. He has only one weakness, me. So
yeah. So she is setting herself up, saying like, all right, 47 has got to go. And this is being presented to you, the player, as a oh shit, so the last thing we saw was her getting the information about her parents. This could feasibly be a double cross, right?
Yeah. We have no choice but to go forward with it. And I get the sense that 47 trust her.
Yeah.
Even if I, the player, who's genre savvy, do not. But I was wrong too, because she's great.
Yeah.
So we get a cutscene here where 47 walks into this old empty office and picks up a laptop. Olivia has provided you with a little bit of info on the next thing you need to do. She said she was out, but she's going to give you a little boost.
Yes. Yeah. So Diana was caught on a camera. That is not something that happens ever. She's at an airport in Buenos Aires, boarding alongside a herald, kind of the chief herald, basically the handlers for Providence, right? This is the Constant's closest assistant, a woman named Tamara Vidal.
Yes. And they're both, and 47 points us out, like, if she was seen on camera, it was for me to see.
It's a message. Yeah.
Yeah. They're both heading to Mendoza.
I'm sorry. Can you take that again? Okay.
Mendoza.
Thank you.
For a retirement party being thrown by Don Yates, owner of an infamous New York law firm. This guy was related to the Hush lawyers from the who covered up the rock star who killed his girlfriend in the first game.
Yeah.
This is one of those fellas.
Yeah.
And 47's like, hey, if she's infiltrating this party, she's sending a message that she needs help. Olivia says, don't fall for it, cuts off the call, but we need to go and take out Vidal, make contact with Diana, and take out Yates.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah. And so we head to this massive mansion. It's like a huge villa on a vineyard in Mendoza, here in Argentina, and it's fucking gorgeous. We need to find Diana and determine her allegiance. Figure out, hey, can I trust you or can I not? And this is simultaneously a Hitman ass mission, right? A big crowded place with kind of a front stage and backstage, right? Huge facility with lots of opportunities to to kill people and stuff. But kind of the wild card here is Diana. who is on the map, and she will help you in really subtle ways. Ways that I didn't notice at first, but are real important.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's really cool to have her take this like position of agency.
Yeah.
You know, she tells you her plan, and she's going to dismantle Providence from the inside, gets you your invitation. And then you have your story missions for this one. So I did not do, in my second run through, I did the tour.
Okay.
You know, the first run through, I had a really hard time finding appropriate story missions.
Okay.
So what I did was I ended up doing the over the top thing.
Okay.
Which causes all of the wine pumps to flood the entire room.
I love it. Hearing the workers talk about it, they say, "Oh yeah, it was knee deep. It was like a horror movie in here, man."
Yeah, it's just absolutely terrifying. And this doesn't give you like a golden opportunity for Yates or anything. This gets them to come downstairs.
Yeah.
So I just shot him in like 23 skidooed.
Yeah.
On out of there, and wasn't feeling super proud of it or anything. And then I was trying to find one for Vidal, and I couldn't, but I'm kind of proud of the thing I jury rigged, which was I couldn't figure out which kind of wine, or I couldn't find the wine Vidal wanted.
Oh,
I poisoned Diana's wine with the emetic poison.
Okay.
So they'd go down to the bathroom.
Ooh.
Together.
Nice.
So, and I figured like Diana could like be on the other side of an emetic poisoning.
Yeah.
And be okay.
So she does go and throw up?
Yeah. She goes and throws up, and Vidal follows her.
Gotcha.
So it was sloppy, but that's where I was at that point in the day.
Yeah. You trust each other. It's fine.
Yeah. What's a little diarrhea between friends? You know?
What's a little uncontrollable vomiting between friends? Yeah. So there are a couple of different ways that you can do this, and then there's like the big climactic kind of like the big climactic story related mission story closing statement. Let's talk about some of the others. You mentioned that tour. There's a fixer on the scene named Corvo Black. You overhear him talking with some Providence agents. Yates wants him on the tour of the vineyard to use that as an opportunity to kill Diana. So, Yates, kind of the office politics going on here. Yates believes that he is properly next in line to be the constant, and he sees Diana as his strongest competition. So he wants her off the board.
Yeah. To do that, you can find out about this, but in order to go on the wine tour, you have to take that disguise, and the wine tour will not start until the wine master is convinced that the field is ripe. So you have to become a wine worker and go find Malbec grapes that he will appreciate.
And I didn't realize this, so you can do that, and then you follow around as Corvo Black on the tour, or you can disguise yourself as the wine master. And 47 gives the speech himself. Cool. He gives the tour, just using his knowledge of winemaking. I didn't do that myself, but I love that. Anytime, we say it every time it happens, but when 47 can step into a role like, oh, you need a session drummer? All right, let me limber up.
Yeah, and just do it.
Keeping the beat.
I ended up going through it as Corvo Black, which was still fun because what happened was I got to the grape press, like the place where it macerates the grapes. You can say like, hey, do you mind if we look around a little bit? And he goes, yeah, just go around and ask me questions. You can go around and ask him questions about the different parts. But if you go up to the thing that crushes the grapes, Diana will cause a distraction and distract the tour guide. So you can push, what's her head in?
Yeah. You can squish up Vidal. There's also an opportunity to get Yates onto here. I never found out a way to do that, but I read about it. I wasn't able to get this because I didn't have the key to disable the safety. So it was a big wet fart. Like, I need to find a new way. That was a perfect opportunity.
I knew from the very beginning of this, like I was going to end up making several people into wine. There's no way around it. Like a lot of people are going to become wine.
Yeah, and we both have Resident Evil 8 on the mind. So
yeah. when I did the over the top one, when I flooded all the things, I definitely invited a couple people into the masher thing, just the cartoon Sun's Fortress ceiling smasher thing, and turned them into wine as well.
Well, there's also the proper macerator, the one with like the huge funnel and the spinning blades that you can just push people into.
That's the one that I pushed Vidal into.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
No,
that one. Yeah, Diana will answer her cell phone in the middle of the tour, and the tour guide walks over to like chide her and gets far enough away from Vidal to push her and make her whine.
Okay. Yeah. No, the one that I failed to operate was the one that actually like was the big press, like the thwomp that comes down. From the ceiling.
The key for that is in the room behind there, in like the little tech room.
Oh, okay.
Back behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up grabbing that, but I didn't end up killing any of the targets with that one. I just killed some innocent winemakers.
Yeah.
Live by the wine, die by the wine.
It is every winemaker's dream to one day be the product that he makes.
To become wine.
Yep.
Every winemaker's dream to someday have notes of Gary. In this,
it's like that
wine.
one really dark episode of King of the Hill with the Larson pork products guy.
Yeah. Where Lucky ends up becoming a chip off the line.
No. Sorry. All right, found the limit. Not going to go past that one. Yeah. This is pre-Lucky. Yeah. Oh fuck.
But good little mission there. I have to do it where I become the tour master though, because I love 47 giving a tour.
Yes. There's another one where you can get Vidal exposed. I didn't do this one. I just read about it. There are mercenaries all around the place, kind of out in the woods, kind of keeping an eye on everything. So kind of creepy to have basically this militia hanging out around the society gathering. But you can get a hold of the sniper's earpiece and then trick them into shooting Vidal after you have dealt with their bodyguards. So like you call in the coordinates for the attack and then she just gets shot in plain daylight. And it looks like an accident.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did not do that one.
Yeah.
I also didn't do this closing statement one, which I read about but did not end up doing.
It's super dramatic and it feels like the canonical way they wanted this to end for you. At least the first time you do this, because it gets to a really good climax.
I still did the tango still happens.
Okay.
With all that stuff, but I didn't get all this dialogue here.
Yes.
Which I feel bad about, but like I said, I did 2 runs of all these.
Yeah.
And that's basically what I had time to do.
Mm-hmm. So for me, what happened was I failed at the tour, and Yates comes down and invites Diana and Vidal up to this small toast room, up to this room, it's like a boardroom in the cellars, with where they can do a toast to him being made the new constant. Really presumptuous of him, and they're going to do this with the most expensive bottle of wine in the world, the 1945 Grand Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To do this, you become a sommelier and sneak up to the security room and disable the gates into the back office to do this. Mm-hmm. Disguise yourself, present the wine to all these assembled heralds in the office. And before the toast, Yates calls out Diana as a traitor.
I mean, kind of rightfully so. She has made their life hell by coming after Providence. Yes, she demonstrated a great amount of competence in doing so. But, he says, we need who here is with me that Diana needs to be off the table here. And everyone turns on Diana except Twist Vidal, who stands up for her and basically makes the case for Diana. And for doing this, Yates orders the head of security to shoot Vidal in the head. So that's one target down.
That's a freebie.
Yeah.
Diana is taken up to Yates' bedroom, which is all done up for the kill here. And you can take out the guards that are waiting, and just wait for Diana and Yates to show up. Mm-hmm. Yates thinks that Diana is entirely under his control. He starts taunting her, asking how she ever thought she could be the next constant. And Diana will stab Yates in the chest, pinning him to the ground, and letting you make the kill.
Yes.
At this point. Very cool, again, act of Diana.
Yeah. It's a team effort, like it has always been between the two of you. A little bit more direct this time, but yeah. So I hide the body and then get back into a tuxedo. The only exit that is available to me the first time is to meet up with Diana out on the dance floor next to the Asado pit, and do a little tango. When you first take her hand, there's like a little flash of red on the screen. I thought this was just a glitch, but it's actually communicating something to you. But
It's taking damage.
yeah. And, you know, Diana says, now we strike at the heart as you are dancing together.
But whose heart? So we get a little cutscene with 47 approaching Diana from behind and drawing on her. He demands to know what price the consent extracted from her for the deal. And she says the obvious, like, hey, I gave you up.
Yeah.
You know,
You're the only valuable thing that I have. You can't be around anymore. Yeah.
yeah. And the, armed guards pop in. Diana presses a switch that activates this touch transferred neurotoxin in your body. And here's where you get this like big heartbreaking moment where she says she knows what you did to her family. You apologize. And she says, I know you didn't have a choice. You're both being used. And she kind of gives you this little, like, the reason you suck speech. That's it's going to come up a little bit more later in the void. But it starts off with this kind of little bit here of her being very cold.
Yeah. And it looks like just a complete, I mean, she's killing you. Like it appears to be a complete betrayal. This has happened once before in the series in Blood Money. Where Diana poisons you to get you into a place. I believe it was not as explicitly done up to appear to be a betrayal in that game as it is here, as a like a plot twist or what have you. But she gets down into your face and says, ultimately this is a kindness. What kind of life were you living? What kind of life would you have led? I'm gonna basically just putting you down like a dog, and then she leaves 47 to die.
And we get a long kind of interactive cutscene.
Yeah.
For the final mission, which is called Untouchable. You wake up, we're in a dream sequence. Which I never really liked these. This one's really done pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of into it, but I'm glad you don't do it on repeat playthroughs.
Yeah. And also I feel like the series has earned it because they've never done it up to this point, and they are they are kind of like putting a bit of a bow on the relationship between 47 and Diana, and also, hinting at things are not directly stated that there is an amount of insecurity in 47 about his station in life, right?
Yeah. And just the vulnerability that comes with him loving Diana, like not necessarily a romantic way, but just in a, like this is a human connection.
Yeah. He just by virtue of both the professional arrangement and the fact that they both depend on each other, both of them have given a lot to each other, Yeah. So that is going to create a bond.
Yep. You wake up in this black void. Diana is taunting you, giving you more of the reason you suck speech, walking through scenes of several of your old victims, until eventually you look up, you're in a pool of blood, and you're surrounded by all the people you've killed, all the targets from the previous games, as well as some randos. Who are in there.
You get a flash of Edwards looking down on you in an examination table. He says, hey, it'll be easy to forget because you forgot before. And he orders the serum to be brought in. Yeah.
You also see Diana dancing with Edwards at one point, similar to how she danced with you, hitting up this insecurity and jealousy.
Yes.
Where she says he was a loyal tool, but everything goes the way of the horse and cart eventually.
Yeah.
And Lucas is the one, the ghost of Lucas or whatever, snaps you out of this, saying hey, this is ridiculous. These toxins are playing directly into your insecurities.
Yeah.
It's telling you what you're afraid of. You follow him to this void version of the graveyard where Diana's family is buried. And Lucas is, the angel on your shoulder being Diana has turned Edward's own cleverness against him. This is not what it looks like. You're in exactly where you need to be.
Yes. You'll know what to do. And you get this flashback to Diana saying something, saying, hey, I will take down Providence brick by brick as soon as I get to Edwards. And she says, but first you need to embrace the past. And it forces you into enacting the moment where 47 pulls the trigger to detonate the car bomb that kills her parents.
And this starts a weird level.
It's really strange.
In the scheme of Hitman levels, it's almost like just a little breather, like empowerment level.
Yeah.
You wake up in an operating room and you get a message really early on that's like all ICA operatives are targets.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's acceptable as a casualty here. You yank off your electrodes and you do a series of kind of like disguises in a level that is incredibly linear.
I mean, necessarily linear, because after you open up a door, you realize that you're on a train that is barreling through the Carpathian Mountains in Romania, where the series began. Yeah.
So someday I hope to be important enough to be on an always moving train.
Yes. That runs a loop.
The most important things in the world.
Yeah.
We're on a Snowpiercer of sorts.
Yes. Yeah. You want to be at the front of the Snowpiercer,
Oh yeah, I've heard bad things at the back of the Snowpiercer. The scientists are talking about this memory wiping drug that they have and talking about consumer applications for it. This is the thing that was used on you to wipe your memory and trying to come up with catchy names and stuff. And it's just very disgusting. Like these are just scientists, but it's not hard to murder them because they're talking about this horrible, horrible drug that they're going to,
well, I mean,
contributing to.
And what they're talking about, like they're trying to give themselves a halo on this awful experimentation that they've done. I mean, this takes everything away from a person, just leaves them as a blank slate. And they're talking about like, oh, imagine if we refined this and it was more targeted and we could say like, take away childhood trauma. Imagine if we
Eternal
could,
sunshine.
Yeah. And they explicitly say like, oh, if we could take away memories of bad breakups or whatever, like, this could actually be a genuine help to humanity. Like you fucking know, don't be a Hal Emmerich here working on the Manhattan Project thinking that you're going to help people. No, you're going to blow up cities, dude.
Yeah. You're creating 47s.
Yeah.
And they're not all as good as 47 is.
Right.
1 through 46 were not great.
Nope.
The gimmicks here are, so you find out you're on a train. This is a reveal. And it's beautiful, like going through these icy mountains. Mm-hmm. The gimmick are you're going through a series of linear rooms that are stealth or combat challenges, depending on how you want to do it. Mm-hmm. And that your crowbars and nails and stuff are all single use.
Yeah, they're all rusty. Because so you're east of the Iron Curtain, so everything has to be shitty.
Yeah, exactly. You're digging through Fallout, like old under rail stuff.
Right.
But basically you're going through getting around or killing a bunch of guards here. And they give you grenades and flash grenades and machine guns and shotguns, and you're fighting against armored guards. Mm-hmm. If you want to play this as a cover shooter, which I did because I was looking to let off a little bit of, catharsis with these fuckos, you can. Yeah. And it's just a little reminder that like Hitman games are not only this like beautiful little stealth, like immersive sim game, but they actually are pretty competent shooters as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
They work just fine.
This is giving you an opportunity for consequence-free violence in a way that, all rules in games are fake, but like in a way that has always been discouraged in previous entries.
There's something to the game giving you permission.
Yes.
To cut loose. Even if I know that a game doesn't have to give me permission for anything because I'm a human adult who bought the game, it's still, there's something meaningful to the game just being like, yeah, fuck this shit. Mm-hmm. Use all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
That you hadn't gotten before.
It's yours.
It's yours. It's fun. It reminds me of like high chaos Dishonored play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just having the ability to do it. Like, I want to throw a grenade at a bunch of dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Because of, you're not going to draw in a bunch of reinforcements because it's a train. Mm-hmm. There are like a finite number of dudes.
Yeah.
On here. Like you're not going to run into the reasons that you are not violent in other levels.
Right. Stealth is viable. Like I did a good portion of the back of the train stealthy. Like at one point you can create a suppressor for your pistol out of a spray paint can. Like there's a little workbench where you can get 7 consequence-free shots for taking people out who happen to be in your way. But then I decided, after a certain point, I was like, no, I've got a shotgun now. That's actually going to be pretty fun. So we're gonna let our hair down for the rest of this. It was the opposite of a mullet. This train, it was business in the back, and then by the time I got to the front, it was a party.
This is the only mission in the trilogy where you don't have to kill anybody.
Oh yeah,
like where you have permission to kill everyone, but you don't even have to kill the constant.
Right.
You get up to the front, you disconnect the rest of the cards, you'll be alone. You'll be alone, and you have Edwards to yourself. You walk up, he says, like, there's not even a point for calling for help, is there?
Yeah.
And he's trying to talk you out of it.
Right.
Here.
Yeah. And he says, like, okay, so you think that you're doing this for Diana. Do you imagine that there's a way that she can resist this power? Because I've got news for you. That's not the way that people work.
And you just disagree, like you don't buy it. And he gives you his final kind of trump card. He slides you a syringe of the memory wipe serum saying, like, listen, you can just go back to the way things were. It is a boon to not have memory.
Yeah.
There are multiple endings here. The very first time I went through this, I just shot him.
Okay.
Because I wanted to see if anything would happen if I didn't give him the satisfaction of the villain speech. I wanted to see if the game would comment on it or anything, but it doesn't.
Okay.
Then I reloaded and I injected him with the serum, which is, again, a fate worse than death. Yep. Just losing everything.
Yeah.
You can also, if you stand there with the serum, you can take it.
Yep.
After enough time, like 47 seconds go by, you can take the serum and you get the opening of the first Hitman game again.
Saying,
with him kind of like waking you up, which is a cool Easter egg.
Wake up, 47. It's a new day. There are things to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, Chrono. It's time to go kill.
Yeah. I obviously injected him. Like they set it up there for you to do it. And it's real satisfying. This guy who has been just ultra slimy and just a real cool cucumber. How many more metaphors can I put on here? When you give him the injection, he doesn't expect that. He wants you to shoot him in the back of the head. Right.
Yeah.
And no, you give him the injection. It's the first time that he actually loses his composure.
He's afraid
before it takes effect. He's panicking, and then he, sits down and says, "I'm sorry, sir. I have no idea what I'm doing here." And then, that's it. You stop.
You adopt him as your son.
This is my adopted adult son, Arthur.
You are my son.
Artie, come over here.
There's a problem with my boy. So you leave him in a daze and get out and walk along the tracks, and we get our final cutscene. Here, Diana burning documents, burning her original origami ICA pin, as the news is talking about this a series of high level resignations at financial firms. Here, either things that she's done or related to the fallout of the leak. And you walk through the snow to her cabin. Or to a cabin rather, talking on the phone, saying you're no longer 47, the pact is done.
Yeah.
But the idea is that your adventures will continue.
Yes.
Here after that.
Like he's not going to stop killing. He's still working with Diana, but I love what he says. I choose this path because I can. There will always be people like them, so there will always be people like us. And he is referring to anybody who would try to step into the vacuum that Providence has left.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is a superhero origin story. It is, the high level Punisher instead of just fighting mobsters.
Yeah.
It's bankers and Illuminati members.
Yeah. Which is sympathetic, let's say.
Yeah. Just, in just really, really satisfying and, again, a good ending, like letting out all my rages, just doing shoots in this final level.
Yeah.
Like, again, doesn't make a great Hitman level, but boy, is it a really cool, final moment for this game.
I'm very curious in post-release content as they repurpose some of these spaces, if they are going to be able to reuse the train and how they're going to try to do it. Like, is it possible to create non-rampage play in this space?
Yeah, it would. Well, it'd be if they were doing like level remixes. So like, Hitman 2 had whole new levels. Hitman 1 had like the two remixes. Like they remade Sapienza to be the movie set and the election trail, and they had that whole Patient Zero
Yeah.
set of alternate levels. Like the train, the bones of the train are there, but if you wanted to make this like a thing with conductors and wait staff and like a dining car and stuff, like that would be a pretty serious revamp. I'm here for it, but it'd be a lot of work, I think. A lot more than other stages.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. As is, it's a weird thing where like I feel like if this were the first Hitman game, I might run into a little bit of the value for money proposition feeling.
Yeah.
Just because of these weird levels. But the idea that this basically encompasses all the games, you know, if I look at them as a single product, even as a single product that cost $140 or whatever, it still ends up being incredibly worthwhile. Like these are things I'll go back and do full runs of every few years.
Yeah.
Basically forever, I think.
It's really good.
One of the classics.
You know, I said it at the beginning, and, you know, even though I've got reservations about the third entry, I don't know how you can play the first two games and not want to see how at the very least, the story between Diana and 47 resolves, you know? Like, that's cool, you know, and you get to see that. It doesn't ignore the big reveal. It kind of like plays things out and is a good, you know, extrapolation and elaboration on the way that they work together. So it is satisfying from that point of view. And also, like, even though the levels are different, you're still doing Hitman stuff in them, and it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. It is sad to think of the end of this era where, like, when you play one of these games, not only are you seeing the continuation of that story, but you're also just seeing, like, what is the next little sandbox they're going to give me? You know? And there was always this sense of surprise. Like, I never had them spoiled for me. I think the only one of these I ever knew in advance was the first level. Like I knew that there's a Paris fashion show as the first level of the series. Everything else was a surprise.
Yeah.
So sitting down and being like, oh, cool, a mansion. Oh, shit, a rave. Oh, shit, you know, a cyberpunk future. Like all of these things were just really fun to just see all these set pieces.
Yeah.
And I'll miss it.
Yeah. I am really happy that we have managed to cover all three of these on here. You know, I'm not going to rule out kind of going back and saying like, oh, here's blood money or what have you. It'd probably be pretty hard, what with quality of life changes and stuff like that. But there's probably still something worthwhile there. We're probably going to be taking a break from Hitman and doing other stealth stuff before we do that, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm okay taking a little stealth break as well.
Yeah.
Like I like stealth games, but they're not my all consuming, you know, purpose or whatever. And there's something that when they're done right, they're incredible. Like I will play any new Dishonored games that happen to pop out. I will play any Hitman games that pop out. And when I play immersive sims in general, I tend to favor a lot of stealth in them. It's not something where I'm like, I feel pretty satisfied with this as a swan song. You know, like it's not that I never want another stealth game. Like I'm still going to go back and, you know, finally finish Mark of the Ninja at some point.
Yeah.
Things like that. But I just feel good with how this ended, both as a series and with it as kind of a potential capstone for the genre.
Yeah.
Just feels good. Feels right.
It'll be a tough one to beat.
Yeah. 47 for Smash, for God's sakes. What a great character.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, have him throw around exploding ducks. Come on, dude.
We got to do that prequel comic at some point for Adaptation Decay. I don't have a lot of faith in it, but I am curious about it.
Yeah.
You know, so thanks everybody for listening to this. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the first episode for May, which means that you still have time to write in about Hitman 3 and also about Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic and the Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Rising.
Yes.
Not solid. Rising.
Yeah.
And stay tuned. You know, if you have things to say about our next spat of games after that, which are Hotline Miami, The Witness, and Super Mario 3D World. You have until June 15th.
Yes. Yeah. Go to Duckfeed.tv/contact if you can. Please separate responses about different games into different messages. that makes it less likely that we will lose them. Yeah. You can also go to patreon.com/duckfeed.tv and support the show, support the network. We make a living off of doing this, and we are incredibly fortunate, and that is only because of your generosity.
Oh, we appreciate that. Until next time, what should they watch out for, Cole?
They should watch out for that 7-foot-tall bald man with piercing blue eyes.
Ombasa.
Ombasa.